Yes, it is. I don't know where that came from. All right, ladies and gents. So this is the fourth session of this Bhumi and energy reading course, series of practice sessions. And so we've gone through a bunch of things since January, February, March, and now in May. So there's actually quite a lot of in those sessions that we've done. In February we had the 13 Pure Land empowerment, and we went through the ladder doing that practice, the Bhumi ladder, the Bhumi centers above the body. So, and I remember what I have, a little plan that I have for this evening is to give attention solely to Mahasiddha Bhumis and meaning of those Bhumis, I will guide us through practices to really help, you who are joining now or who are watching this recording later, to really help you understand what is the significance with Mahasiddha Bhumis. So what I had in mind was that we would focus on Mahasiddha Bhumis in this session, because I remember that in February when we did the 13 Pure Land session, and there was, like I said in that session, there was a lot of people who, I haven't seen before in our retreats or sessions, so it was way too advanced, I would say. So I'll try to deliver this essential point of Mahasiddha Bhumis in very simple manner that it can be understood and that it can be used through this representation. So in Pemako practice we use, I shouldn't say that, I shouldn't speak of Tantra in general because it might not be the case in other types of tantric methods, but in Pemako we use tantric deities and mantras of those deities to reveal the Buddha within, meaning the Mahasiddha Bhumis. We also use dynamic concentration, meaning that we shout mantric syllables to cut through the first 10 Bhumis. The samsaric mind is there in the aura, in the energy system inside the body, and in the aura. That's where the 10 Bhumis are, here in this body space, as well as those 7, 8, 9, 10 centers, both above the head and below the body. So that's where all of selfing, self-based phenomena is located. And this is of course why in Tantra there is a lot of work with the channels, with the space inside the body and with the channels and space outside the body. For example, when visualizing different deities, it is one of the higher Tantra visualizations that you visualize the deity in the place of your body and also include the aura like it is pictured in tantric paintings in tankas. So we use deities, meaning mantras, visualizations also, to establish recognition of one's Buddha nature, meaning recognition of Bhumis, Mahasiddha Bhumis. Then we use dynamic concentration to cut through the samsaric mind, the aura, to make a momentary hole into that samsaric functioning, self-based functioning of the mind. So we literally, when we shout syllables, it makes a hole, and for a moment the pure energy body is experienced. Pure energy body. And that is a different way to say that the Buddha within, our Buddha nature, is recognized, or the Mahasiddha Bhumis are established. for a moment through this recognition. And then the third way how we do this in Pemako is, as you know, those of you who have learned Rainbow Body Yoga, what we do is that we extend our attention. We have the same Bhumi pillars. We have the first 6 Bhumis inside the body, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 above, and exactly in the same measure below the body. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So one of the basic practices in Rainbow Body Yoga is that we extend, our attention downwards and upwards and connect these pillars and connect all the way to those Mahasiddha Bhumis. So there's a number of ways we do this in Pemako, and again, the reason why we do it in several different ways is that we really want to have that recognition. That is what Buddha Dharma, what Buddhist yogas is really all about. Nothing else, everything else is secondary to that recognition. So it's very important to do. Very important that that you could say that that's the only way to practice Buddhism correctly. I mean, from the yogic perspective. Of course, there are, you can study scriptures and gain theoretical understanding and all that. But when it comes to experience, yogic experience, meditative experience, that is really the essence of all of experiences. And also in Buddhism, there are so many different types of methods. Some use samadhi experience, samadhi states, meaning like states of one-pointed concentration or meditative absorptions, in different systems. But those are not the recognition of the Buddha within. Those are something else. But, Mahayana Dharma, Mahayana Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhist masters make it clear that all beings have Buddha nature, and when our purpose of doing practice is to remove self-based confusion, delusion, and suffering, that happens through recognizing the real being, the real me, the real, the basic wakefulness, basic freshness, basic clarity. So that is the way to remove delusion and suffering. So it might I guess that I could add that recognition of the Buddha within is not an exotic or mystical experience. What you're experiencing is the basic clarity, the basic freshness, basic sanity, basic sobriety of your own being, without any extra emotional self-based stuff. So it simply means to recognize this basic state, this Buddha within that all beings have and all human beings have. So it's not sometimes you get a very false idea of Buddhas and Mahasiddhas, and the whole thing is discussed in a very grandiose manner in different texts and sutras and so on. But it is really the experience itself is really sobering, brightening, relaxing, down to earth, and no nonsense. So when we have access to methods like using the Bhumi pillars, dynamic concentration, and so forth, what is really valuable, I think, is that we can have this recognition on daily basis. So we don't have to wait to meet some famous teacher, and we don't need to wait to join, let's say, a week-long intensive in a foreign country, or that only takes place every 6 months or something. All of that we can forget when we have practices that we can use in our daily life every day, from one day to another, and have that recognition. Like I said, this is really the heart and soul of Buddhism, to recognize our own Buddha nature. Yeah. So let's take this into practice. Let's use a few minutes to align the body and relax, and then I will ask some blessings from our gurus, Guru Padmasambhava and Yeshama, and then we will take it from there to Mahasiddha Bhumi practice. So please take a good posture. I often say that, if you're relatively new to tantric practice, it's best to close your eyes and have eyes closed, because then there's no visual input, and then you can feel with the body, through the body, without that extra visual input. So first, just aligning the spine, sitting legs nicely and firmly on the ground, relaxing belly, relaxing chest, relaxing shoulders, arms, hands, fingers. As if letting the body melt while the body stays upright. Also letting tension from the mouth area and jaws melt. Letting tensions melt from eyes and around the eyes. And letting tensions melt from the brain and from the whole head. For a few minutes, establishing relaxedness. Letting muscles and tissues relax from the surface, and then deeper and deeper from the body. Layer by layer, letting go of tensions. Until the whole body rests in nice, relaxed presence. If you feel like taking a few deep breaths, you can take. Sometimes it often happens that when we start relaxing, then we spontaneously feel like take a few deep breaths. So that's what I mean. And while we let the body relax, we let the tissues relax. At the same time, there is basic knowing that this relaxation is taking place. There is a basic knowing of relaxation in the whole body or in different areas of the body as you are scanning through the body. Really let the tissues, muscles, nerves, really let it relax. If we use the analogy of holding a ball in our hand, like a tennis ball, and we let the tennis ball drop. We are not squeezing it one bit. Same way here, we completely let go of the grip of the body. And it feels fantastic. And then, on behalf of all of us, I would like to express bodhicitta prayer. We are practicing, doing these practices, studying Dharma in a yogic way, so that each of us attains Buddhahood as soon as possible for the sake of all sentient beings. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. Feel the energy of bodhicitta. when we express our bodhicitta motivation, this compassionate motivation, it instantly generates, reveals this soft, clear energy. This is the energy of the Buddha within. So bodhicitta alone, as the basic prayers of refuge, dedication of merit and so forth, they all have this energetic element that when we experience it and we recognize it with our body, we feel it, listen to it, we see it, smell it, taste it. This is the same as establishing Mahasiddha Bhumis. As you can feel, when we do recognize the energy of bodhicitta, there's a sobering effect. Our mind becomes clearer rather than remaining, how should I say, like restless or messy. Our head becomes clearer. Our energy becomes softer. Heart opens up, or you can feel the warmth, the softness of the heart. Again, this is an indication of these Mahasiddha Bhumis, Mahasiddha grounds of the Buddha within becoming active. Further relax into that. You could say surrender into that. So we simply said a simple bodhicitta prayer, which is practiced by all Mahayana and Vajrayana Buddhists, millions of people worldwide every day. Very common practice. But it is absolutely crucial to understand that there is this energetic component every time you do this practice. Whether it's a simple, informal practice like we do it now, or if it is 2 pages long bodhicitta prayer in Japanese, Tibetan, English, Finnish, Russian. This energy is always there. So it is one thing to do the exercise or the prayer, to practice the external form of the practice, but then there's also the internal component, sensing, feeling the energy, the blessings. Then we will do short Guru Yoga with Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal again to establish our own Buddha nature through their blessings. So on behalf of every one of us, I would like to ask sincerely from my heart, without hiding anything, strong blessings from Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal, the founders of our Pemako lineage. Namo Guru Rinpoche, Namo Yeshe Tsogyal, shower us with your blessings. For the sake of all beings. Now feel again. Every time when we ask a blessing from Mahasiddha Gurus, there will instantly be an effect. When we ask for the blessing sincerely, the Gurus always arrive in a heartbeat. Again, we might say a simple, very informal prayer, just like I did, that lasts for 15 seconds. Or we might chant Guru mantras for 2 hours. But the most important thing is to get in touch and feel the blessings. Feel, hear, see, taste, smell. Or in short, recognize the presence of the Gurus. Feel and recognize with one's whole being. This points out to us our basic nature, the Buddha within. In other words, establishes Mahasiddha Bhumis. So Tantric Guru Yoga is practiced only so that we can recognize our own Buddha nature. Any authentic guru agrees to that. It's not about worshipping others or putting others to pedestal, not even if they are great masters like Padmasambhava. The sole purpose of gurus is to point out, to help us recognize our own reality. And here Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Ma are doing exactly that. Exactly that. And when we marinate in their presence, in their blessings, our own, again, the clarity of our own mind, the sobriety of it, the peacefulness of it, settledness of it, softness, richness, kindness, love, all of that of our own is revealed. And as long as we stay with the Guru, or as long as we keep returning to it, to the presence of the Guru, blessings of the Guru, the same thing keeps happening. This is the reason, because this is so significant. This is the reason why Tantric Guru Yoga is the foundation of all Tantric methods. So, you don't have to try to figure out or try to find the Buddha within by yourself. You don't have to try to generate it yourself. You just invite the Guru and it automatically happens. Because the Guru is like a, how should I say, like a passing a torch or lighting our torch that we already have but is unlit. Feel, taste the energy of the Guru. How does that energy feel like? What is the quality of that energy? So here we are accessing the Mahasiddha Bhumis through the Guru, through the blessings of the Guru. Let's continue Guru Yoga a little more by chanting Namo Guru Rinpoche, Namo Yeshe Tsogyalye mantras for a couple of minutes. And as you chant those mantras, imagine that the sound vibrations of the mantra, that they fill your whole body, the space inside the skin, and then also the space in the aura. The edge of the aura is about 1.2 meters, 1.5 meters from the skin in all directions. So just imagine that when you're chanting the Guru mantras, that the vibrations fill the whole space inside the body and in the aura. Let's sing with love, with sincerity, honestly. Namo Guru Rinpoche, Namo Yeshe Tsogyalye, 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 Namo Guru Rinpoche. Rinpoche, Namo Yeshe Tsogyalye, Namo Guru 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 Rinpoche, Namo Yeshe Tsogyalye, Namo Yeshe Tsogyalye. So we went back to the chanting to make the invitation again by chanting. And as you can feel, there is a response again. So what we are experiencing here through this simple Guru Yoga practice, well, of course, Mahasiddhas have a lot of energy and power to their presence. Mahasiddhas like Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal. So in that sense, because their presence is complete, flawless, without any lackings, that's why their presence feels strong, powerful, or can feel strong, powerful. But at the same time, our mind becomes clear because we have the same Buddha nature as they have. So what we are experiencing here in the presence of the Gurus is our Mahasiddha Bhumis becoming active, our Buddha nature becoming alive, recognized. Thank you, Guru Padmasambhava and Yeshama. Thank you so much of these blessings. Let's continue a little bit more to get to those Bhumi pillars and Mahasiddha Bhumis at the end of both pillars. So for a moment, feel your body. And then if you perceive your body as if sitting in space, located in space, in empty space, there are these pillars of centers, both below and above your body. So get a sense of a larger space around the body, and that there are these pillars, and roughly 6 meters below the pelvic floor and 6 meters above the crown, there are 11th, 12th and 13th Bhumis, or 1st, 2nd and 3rd Mahasiddha Bhumis. You can simply feel your body sitting in space, as if sitting in the sky. And then very gently, very lightly, feel the pillars both below and above, with the intention, with the sincere intention of connecting the Mahasiddha Bhumis and the whole Bhumi pillar with the body and the energy system in the body and in the aura. If if you're familiar with this exercise, it's easy to connect both pillars at the same time. But if you are new to this practice, we'll take it step by step. So first, we'll connect the pillar below. So you can simply feel from the space of the body and from the pelvic floor into the space below the body. And you can either just open to the presence, open to the flooding in of the same type of fresh, clear, clean, utterly kind energy as is felt in the presence of the gurus. You can kind of just open to it. Open to the for the Mahasiddha Bhumis below. Or what you can do is to extend your attention, kind of letting it descend downwards from the pelvic floor, like coming down a ladder, 1 meter by meter, until you go about 6 meters downwards. When you hit the 5-6 meters distance, there will be that flooding in of that same type of energy as is felt in the presence of the gurus, Mahasiddhas. Very light, very clear, very soft, very pleasant, very sobering. That doesn't take you away into heavenly states or trance states, but it's very down to earth. So feel that connection for a moment. So again, what we are doing is we are feeling, tasting, smelling, hearing, looking at the energy, sensing the change. Good. Now we've connected the bhumis below, and then we'll do the same with the bhumis above. So again, you can intuit into the space above the head and kind of just open up. You have some sense of the distance of 6 meters, and you think of, imagine into 6 meters above the crown. And then you just relax, you open, as if showering down of water under a waterfall, showering down of grace. Or, if you prefer, if it's easier, you can ascend a ladder 1 meter by meter until you hit 5-6 meters, and then you feel that there is this flooding in of soft energy, soft and sobering energy. Again, exactly like in the presence of Mahasiddhas. And now, when we have spent a couple of minutes connecting the pillars, let's look at this in a little bit more detail. So we have 3 different Mahasiddha Bhumis, and the 11th relates to the body of emptiness, body of wisdom, or body of empty phenomena. That has the, when it is recognized, it relates to that clarity, a knowing, cognizant quality of the basic state. So that's the characteristic of 11th, and then 12th and 13th relate to the aliveness, richness, energetic quality, colors. Colors coming out of that bright light, you could say. So I will say a prayer on behalf of all of us, like this. May the 11th Bhumi in each of our energy systems become really active, and may the energy of the 11th Bhumi become strong in our experience right now, for the sake of all beings. May we have good experience of the 11th Bhumi and its meaning. Notice how this feels like. See how it feels like. You can recognize it, eyes closed, as well as take a moment, open your eyes and see how the energy feels like when you have open eyes. 11th Bhumi on the foreground. Good. Then you can close your eyes again. And then again, I will express a simple prayer on behalf of all of us. May the 12th Bhumi, related to the light body, Sambhogakaya, body of enjoyment, may the 12th Bhumi, in the system, energy system of all of us, come to the foreground and very active, with strong energy, with strong blessings, for the sake of all beings. See what is the difference. What is the difference in the energy that you feel? Twelfth Bhumi, connecting both from below and above the body. With this one also, you can recognize eyes closed and eyes open. How does it feel like? How does it see like? How does it smell, taste, feel? I'm sure you all notice that there's a softening in that energy. The clarity stays, but there is at the same time there is softening, like this amazing softness, warmth, a richness, you could say. Here the light is no longer like bright, clear light, bright white light, but it has tones. It has colors. It has expression. You can close your eyes again. And then finally, 13th Bhumi. So again, for the sake of all beings, so that we can understand our energy system and use it in our practice to benefit all beings, may the 13th Bhumi, 13th Buddha ground, become active and come into the foreground, and may the energy of the 13th Bhumi become clear and strong as it connects with the body and aura. Again, what is the change to the previous two? What is the change, difference compared to 11th and 12th? Check with both eyes closed and eyes open. All right, stay with the energy. Lying down. Let's lie down for 10 minutes. I will tell you when to get up. Do you hear that announcement? I don't know why it does that. It didn't do that before. They always change these softwares. Okay, so let's chant dedication of merit and then we still have time for discussion. Inhale. May all beings receive my accumulated merit. I dedicate the merit to the refuge and to all sentient beings. Feel the energy of dedication. Read it. And then join your palms and bow your head. All right. Do you have any questions or comments? Or if you want to share how you feel, feel free to do that as well.
The 13th was like melted chocolate.
I assume that melted chocolate is one of your favorite things, is it?
No, not really, to
Ah, okay, okay.
be honest, but in this context, it was lovely.
Hmm.
Mm. And I kind of a bit like velvet as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Well, velvet.
Dark red velvet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. But lots of chocolate. Mm.
Chocolate on the velvet.
Yeah. Not sure about the 11th though. I don't
Okay.
think I quite got the 11th. It
Mm-hmm.
seemed different, just more light,
Yes. Okay.
more illuminated, but not really colours.
Yes, exactly. That's how it should be. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Yeah, it's if we think of a diamond or a crystal, it's the transparency of the diamond or a crystal. But then, when the light hits a crystal, bright light hits a crystal, then it emanates colors. So it's a perfect analogy for these two bodies. Emptiness body, 11th, then enjoyment body, 12 and 13. That's exactly how it feels.
Mm.
Does the I feel like when it's guided like this, and you have like the 11th or the Dharmakaya part established, it's much easier to get that richness from 12 and 13. So I'm wondering, like, doing those practices that are like if we do deities or Togal, like you should have Dharmakaya established first. Actually, mostly because you have said you have to have it with Togal, but also with deities. Like,
Uh,
if then it's just going to be like gross bliss, if it's not like.
ah, well, gross bliss. Well, that's well, I don't know because there is. It's good to keep in mind that if you have like a gross intoxicating bliss, then that intoxicating bliss comes because there is some kind of spiritual energy or spiritual charge that hits your karmic stuff. And that creates that drunkening, literally like intoxicating bliss. But this is not really, I have not seen this in Buddhist practitioners that they would have this gross bliss. The Buddhist deities, I can't really think of, and nobody has told me of Pemako Sangha. Nobody has ever told me that, if they practice the deities of 13, 12 Bhumis, that there would be this intoxicating bliss. I've never heard anybody say this because well, Buddhist deities are built or formulated in a different way than Hindu deities are. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other, I'm just saying that they are different. And my experience of Hindu Tantra, Shaiva Tantra, southern Shaiva Tantra is that because those deities are built in a different way, if there hasn't, if there, how should I say, if there hasn't been emptiness insight through vipassana, then there will be intoxicating bliss for sure. But this is not really, I have not seen an indication that this would be a like a matter of concern in Buddhist Tantra.
Yeah. Maybe it's interesting, but maybe it was bad formulated because I was more thinking like if I just come up with Samantabhadra now because that's the 13th. Like if I were to practice Samantabhadra, would I get it right away, or would it be better to do like some sort of 11 thing first to kind of get it? Because I feel it's like now when you did the 11th first and this clarity is there, it's much easier to kind of get that richness when it's there.
Yes, so you're kind of already answering your own question. It always depends on our level of purification, meaning perfections of bhumis, to some degree openings of bhumis as well, but perfections of bhumis, purification of the subtle body, how we really experience and understand deities. So that is always the case, and the reason why, I've been mentioning that second session we had in this series in February with the 13 Pure Land jhanas, when I looked at the group and there was like half of the people I had never seen, I realized that, oh, this is way, way too advanced for this group. And I think it was actually like a turn off for many because it was so advanced. But, it's very related to your question that, there is a lot of subtlety, even though, even a beginner can grab a hold of something, can understand something, because there is always an experience. If you're going through the 13 bhumis or deities related to them, or guru yoga and so forth, there is always something we can experience, and something we can, based on that experience, something we get from the practice, even for a beginner. But having said that, when we, to really understand the differences of deities and bhumis, it comes after getting seasoned. The purer your mind is, the purer your first 10 bhumis are, the clearer you understand and see and feel what happens with each deity and with each bhumi. That is simply the case. In other words, you can't, and no one can, even though you can understand the basic view, the basic theory, how it all works, you can understand that it's a map, it's a path map that goes from beginning, point A, through different points to the end goal. It's very easy to understand, but to understand it through experience, that requires time, and it requires specific types of experiences, which is recognition of the basic state and then integrating of those experiences. Yeah, so it's a longer process. But long doesn't, by long I don't mean decades, not at all. I mean like few years of practice to 5 to 10 years, and you'll master this stuff. It doesn't require more than that if you practice and put in the hours of study. So in that sense, this is not like unreachable teaching. That's the whole point, that it's a practical path map that we use to map our paths and to understand ourselves. That's a crucial point.
So from my very primitive beginner level of like, from my beginner perspective, what can I do with this energy is just feel, not feel. I can sense them or not sense them. So it's very like rough, or very like 0 and 1 states. But I wonder, what would you do with this energy on a very advanced level of things? What you want to do with this energy, basically? You do want to do something, right? Not only feel or not feel. Maybe you can channel them somehow, or use them, like, I don't know, to build a power plant, or I don't know.
Yes. So that's a good question. And that's exactly the case, that we don't just want to feel those energies. The point is not to, always to sit down and reactivate the energy. That is not the point. The point is that, what the 13 bhumis being a path map, what it means is that, when we have breakthrough experiences, which means that, you recognize the basic state in a way that it, could I say, that it does damage to the samsaric selfing. So, and what it means is that we're talking about bhumi openings and bhumi perfections. So a bhumi opens when we recognize the basic state in a comprehensive, full manner. And what happens there is that there is a permanent change with each of those bhumi openings, with each of those breakthroughs. This is common knowledge in Buddhist practices, that, a lot of Buddhists talk about this historically and presently. There's loads of texts that discuss these breakthrough experiences with various names. But, that is exactly the point, that, we are talking about our Buddha nature, and these 13 bhumis related to 13 centers are a pathway to that Buddhahood, to that actual attainment. So, we have usually how it goes for Pemako practitioners is that they first have 13 major breakthrough experiences, meaning 13 awakening experiences relating to the 13 bhumis. And when one gets to the 11th one, that's a special kind of a turning point on the path, because after that you don't need to, because that's the first Mahasiddha Bhumi. That's outside the karmic body of the 10 bhumis. So when you open the 11th, then you have the basic state readily available for you at all times, or most of the time. It still gets colored by the residual stuff that you have in your aura, in your mind. Stuff comes and goes, and you still keep practicing emptiness meditation, vipassana, but when the 11th, the first Mahasiddha Bhumi opens, then the basic state is there. So, at latest at that point, you understand that, oh, I really have this Buddha nature, and that it can be established. Not only come and go recognition, not only a momentary experience of it, but really establish it in my daily life. So that's a very significant point. And after that, you just keep practicing emptiness meditation through tantric means, what we mostly do in Pemako, and reintegrate those self-based bits back into this body of reality or body of emptiness. So, we are not talking about fleeting experiences of experiencing Mahasiddha Bhumi meditation like we just did. We are talking about really knowing ourselves as fully enlightened, fully awakened beings, and using these practices to accomplish that. Yeah.
May I ask you, Rinpoche, how do you most efficiently go about reading a Mahasiddha's level of Buddhahood? If he's on the 11th, the 12th, or the 13th Bhumi?
So you're talking about, for example, Guru Rinpoche or any other, yes. So first thing to do Bhumi analysis well, first thing is to know your own ladder well. So you need to know the locations, where the sensations, where the vibrations are, where the trigger points, where the centers are. And when you have that skill, then you tune in with any master, any teacher. And then what happens is that this happens automatically, spontaneously, naturally, is that when you tune into somebody, that person's, whether it's a physically alive person or whether it's some deceased person or a master, that person's energy body, because it vibrates according to her or his level of attainment. Nothing is hidden in that sense. It's like an open book. If we think of, in the first session we looked at the pictures of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He is an open book. Just, he's there with his body, with his mind, and we can sense his presence, even though, he might be on the other side of the world at the moment, but we can still sense him, or I can sense any of you, you can sense me, It's an open secret. You just have to do the tuning. But when you do the tuning, what happens automatically is that your own body, your own energy body starts to vibrate in the same way as the person who you're tuning into. So if we are talking about who could be a good example of recent, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, for example, or you can think of Jesus, you can think of Chatral Rinpoche, you can think of anybody. Your own subtle body, you already have the knowledge of, where the Bhumi locations are, how the Bhumi is through your own purification experience, how purified body feels like. And you simply tune in the person, and your body copies it, and then okay, here let's say I'm mapping some teacher who's alive now, teaches somewhere. I don't want to mention any names, and I'm not gonna. So, okay, now I'm tuning into this person, and I notice that I feel a certain kind of sensation here, in the Bhumi is here, and it feels like, okay, the first one is open, yes. I'm tuning in, staying tuned with that person. Second one open, third one is also open. Fourth one, is the fourth one open? Yes, it's also open, but the fifth isn't, for example. When you have these Bhumi opening experiences, breakthrough experiences, it automatically, you know what is the case with other person. And the same thing with anybody, really, whether it's practitioner, little known teacher, well known teacher, somebody who's regarded as a master of Buddhist tradition, Hindu tradition, Christian tradition, Sufi tradition, anything. Yeah, that's how it works. And one common misunderstanding about this, about doing Bhumi analysis, is that you would have to kind of try to grasp or get the person's energy. No, you don't have to. If you're using a photograph on your computer screen, or if you are physically in the presence of that person, or if you are, let's say, if His Holiness the Dalai Lama is now in northern India, you can just tune into that, his presence right now, without any picture, without any external means, just directly. So the energy arrives to us. It arrives to us. We don't need to try to get it. We don't need to try to grasp it and then start analyzing. Our subtle body takes it, and then we simply do simple mathematical processing. What is open, what is still closed, and so on.
Thank you very much. I'm just asking, with the Mahasiddha Bhumis, it's a little bit different because they don't start karmic obscurations. So, like, if you tune into a Mahasiddha of 11th Bhumi attainment, and then you tune into him, and then you notice the 11th is there's something going on there that is not going on in your level yet.
Right, yeah.
And then you go into the 12th, and then what happens, because your 12th Bhumi is not perfected and his 12th Bhumi or her 12th Bhumi is not perfected. I kind of don't see how you sense a difference there.
Yes. This is a very, very subtle difference. Like I understand exactly what you mean, but that's a very subtle difference. The difference is there, but it's so subtle that some things, it's like practice at any stage is that if we think of somebody who has perfected, let's say, the first Bhumi, perfected only the first one, and then if we think of somebody who is perfecting the 9th or 10th, even though on the time frame, these, somebody who's working on ninth, perfecting ninth, that person might have been perfecting his or her first just 1 or 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago. But it's a completely different type of experience. There is a vast amount more of subtlety with the ninth, 10th perfection. And the person who is working on the first one, has no clue about that subtlety. In other words, is unable to detect the subtlety. It's exactly like that with Mahasiddha Bhumis as well. So, I always felt that that it's possible to, even without a single Bhumi opening, it's possible to really develop serious energetic skills in the context of 13 Bhumis. So, this is speculation, but I think that maybe I'll just wrap this up and say that if you do the study, I'm sure you will have no problem in figuring out what you're asking, even if you aren't yet on 11th. Yeah. The body and mind is an amazing instrument. I think that's a cool little phrase to end this. So thank you everyone. Many of you joined all 4 sessions. Thank you for taking part in these sessions. This video also will be uploaded to YouTube, so it's available later. Thank you for your session fees. And yeah, it has been an interesting little sessions. And the reason, just to remind you that the reason why I felt like I should give these sessions is because in Pemako Sangha we actually use these 13 Bhumis as path map. So, our path map it's partially theoretical, can be verbally written down, but it's mostly energetic. It's mostly path map of yogic experience. And the reason why I wanted to have this 4-part course is to have material for our Sangha members and others also, to understand how it all works. So I think we've managed to do that. And these videos will be available for people, all who study this path map. So thank you everybody, and see you later. Have a nice evening, everyone. Thank you very much.